Hi devs. I've been asked several questions about technical interviews for senior engineers. Well, in many ways, the senior engineer interview is similar to the junior engineer interview, except that harder problems are asked and usually going into much more depth. This actually puts the senior engineers at a disadvantage because data structures are rarely needed in day-to-day programming, and that's because they're taken care of by libraries. Therefore, it's common for senior engineers to forget all the details, and when they're unable to speak about those details in depth, they're seen as inadequate. Well, this is unfair, but unfortunately it's fairly common. For this reason, I recommend that senior engineers spend several weeks brushing up on their data structures and practicing software problems. In senior engineer interviews, we are also frequently asked about system design and leadership. When the interviewer asks system design questions, they usually want to know how well you understand design trade-offs. So talk through the issues, mention the pros and cons, and discuss when trade-offs should be taken. For example, trading off performance and storage, or scalability and ease of implementation. Design questions frequently ask you to architect a product or a feature. For example, in my Google system design interview, I was asked to architect Google Maps. And in my Amazon interview, I was asked to architect a citywide traffic light controller. In these interviews, the interviewer was interested in how I approached the problem, but also in how well I understood things like breadth-first searches or global optimization, and most importantly, when they should be used. Scalability is often also brought up in these interviews, such as using serverless technologies or spreading the computation across multiple machines. Now, since many companies that are looking for senior engineers want them to lead a team, the interview will also often include leadership questions. Now, I found that speaking about your own experiences is far more memorable and convincing than talking about leadership theory or about what you might do. I really liked the advice that I was given when preparing for interviews at Amazon. Amazon has published a list of leadership principles. I was advised that to prepare for this interview, I should create stories from my own experience that illustrate each one of these principles. I found this helpful not only when interviewing at Amazon, but for interviews at all companies, or even when interviewing for consulting jobs. Remember, stories are powerful, so use them often, especially in leadership questions. So these are some of the techniques that you can use to improve your performance when interviewing for senior level positions, and I wish you all great success.